So welcome back to part 2 of this series on addictive behaviour and bad habits, and we'll be diving into a tactic from Judson Brewer today called the R.A.I.N Tactic for managing negative behaviours, negative thinkings and addiction. So let's get into it. So Judson Brewer is a psychiatrist and meditation teacher who has a lab where he focuses on addiction, and he's also written a fabulous book called The Craving Mind. And I came across him on a podcast with Sam Harris where they were talking about the relationship between mindfulness and addiction. And he has a wonderful tactic called R.A.I.N, R-A-I-N, where he breaks down how you can deal with the arising of addictive thoughts that lead to addictive behaviors. And what this can help you do is really break down that initial point between a habit and understand how that leads to the behaviors. So let's take a little look at it. First off, he says what you need to do is figure out what that behavior is getting you. What do you actually benefit from these addictive behaviors? Do they serve you in any way? And if you can set up that parameter initially around it, you'll start to deal with the fact psychologically that perhaps you don't want to have these behaviors. Perhaps smoking doesn't taste good. Perhaps you don't get much from listening to or watching some pointless piece of content, or perhaps you don't feel good after eating sugary foods or highly processed foods. And having that conversation with yourself before you use this technique really sets up a parameter to make this tool useful. And I hope that can come across to you, that setting these parameters will make the tactic work better. So R-A.I.N, R-A.I.N. R stands for recognize. So you want to recognize the thought, take a step back, notice it just as a thought or a feeling. How does it feel? Recognition is the first step. And then A is acceptance. So you want to, instead of acting on the trigger or the cue or the craving that's come into consciousness, you want to just let it be. Don't push it away, don't pull it towards you. Don't act on it, just accept and be kind to yourself. Like, this has appeared. I didn't have power in the moment to stop that craving appear. I want to check my phone. I want to eat that food. I want to have a cigarette. So you've recognized what's appearing. You've accepted it. You've come to terms with it. You've allowed yourself to feel that way without judgment. Then what you want to do is I, which is investigate. You want to go into this feeling. You want to see, how does it feel? Be curious, be kind to yourself, but really notice, how does this feel? Is it pulling? Is it pushing? Is it tension? Is it this spike of dopamine that makes you feel good in advance? How does it feel? And really go into that. Curiosity here is key. You want to be as objective as possible. You don't want to become too identified with these feelings, because then that will lead to more impulsive thoughts and feelings, and you'll act on them. And then the next step is noting. Noting is a method in mindfulness I've discussed multiple times on this channel. It's great just for your normal mindfulness practice, but for combating bad habits and addictive behaviors, you just want to note, after the investigation, you just want to note what's happened. He says you want to take out your notebook and start to lay out how these feelings and thoughts are making you feel. So is it desire? Is it a need? Is it a want? Is it something that you really can't be without? How does it affect your life? Are you desperate for this? Is it just something that you want because you're bored? Like, what's going on here? So recognize, acceptance, investigate, and note. And you can also, as a result of using this technique, begin again, as Sam Harris says, restart in the present. You can forgive yourself for this accumulation of feelings and thoughts, notice that they're now in the past, and that in the present you can begin again, you can restart, and you can in the next moment use this tactic over and over again to become at peace and find some equanimity, some well-being, some support for yourself, that you've gone through that process. It's beneficial. It might not work every time, but you're starting to break down what a trigger and what a craving is, and offering yourself some solace in the fact that you now have a method to be with this behavior and not act on it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying making this series for you. Addiction is a topic close to my heart. It's affected many people around me, it's affected myself, and I've used many tools from mindfulness to help with this. But I've also used tools from the behavioural world, from the habit change world, and in the next video I'll be looking at James Clear, amazing author of Atomic Habits. The book's up behind me there. One of my most used books for creating positive change and reducing negative behaviours. So we'll get into that on the next video, and until next time, take care, my friend.